Sinners is getting a sequel, Sydney Sweeney is selling her bathwater, and Taylor Swift is going to make $1 billion more. Welcome back to Rewind, the show where we share the most interesting things in entertainment news. Today we're going to get a bit spicy. Today we have a lot to talk about. We have a lot of personal opinions.
Have a lot to talk about,
I know. But we have a lot of personal opinions going into this one today.
I also usually have a lot of personal opinions.
Dylan, I'm just trying my best.
I know.
Okay?
We're going to start with the Sinners sequel. Something that absolutely no one asked for.
Yeah, this alleged Sinners sequel, which is being spoken of, because...
Yeah. Not only did no one ask for it, Ryan Coogler, the director of Sinners, also did not ask for it.
Yeah, so basically there were these rumors going around that Sinners is getting a sequel, which... Like, if I could dream of one thing, I would wish that Sinners does get a sequel. But Ryan Coogler literally came out and said that there will be no Sinners sequel.
No, this is a complete movie, it's a standalone story, and done.
It's a full meal, it's your appetizers, starters and entrees and dessert, and that's it. It's
direct
just
quote.
One and done, and there's no Sinners sequel coming after that. However, you know how studios are. You just know how they are. Because there has been speculation that there is actually a follow-up movie coming.
They made enough money to have the studios go, hey, how do we make more money out of this?
The only thing is, I'd like to say top 3 of the best things of Sinners are Michael B. Jordan, the kind of nuance. I'm not going to call it a low-budget film. It was $90 million, but a mid-budget film. It felt good, you know? And Ryan Coogler, and they are stripping the movie of Ryan Coogler. It's not going to work.
Not only is it
you
gonna
cannot
work,
make a Sinners sequel without Ryan Coogler. It's trying to make a sequel of Nope or Get Out without Jordan Peele. If you guys didn't know, Ryan Coogler also directed the Black Panther saga, which also included Michael B. Jordan in the cast. In fact, I think Michael B. Jordan is not stepping into the Marvel world unless Ryan Coogler is attached.
No.
So yeah, it's this kind of upwards battle. It's constantly this battle against studios, rapidly making sequels as a sure way to make money.
Which, fair enough, this is the problem though.
It's a formula.
It's the only way to make money, right? Movies don't make money the first time because people don't like new movies. As much as people like to say they like new movies, there were a bunch of big movies that came out this year that were first-time movies and none of them made money, and all the sequels make money. Because it's a known thing, right? Once the franchise, then you feel safe going to watch the movie and be like, listen, Dune is scary. I don't want to watch Dune.
But then the minute it made money,
then I watched it at home.
Sequel.
Yeah, everyone was ranting and raving about it, and then everyone went to watch Dune too.
Which
so I
mean,
it.
Even though some sequels turn out good, it does tend to be exhausting for audiences. How many movies are going to show up at the cinema, which are all sequels? There was kind of a period of 3 months where we'd be like, oh, what are we going to watch at the cinema? And there was The Accountant 2, Venom 2. This too,
Toy Story 5, Shrek 5.
You know what I mean? Every single thing in the cinema was a sequel, and I feel like it's mighty time to break the mold.
Look, my opinion with sequels is that there are places for sequels, right? If the director and the creators design the story to be multiple parts, or like a Scream, for example, where it's it's kind of fun to just keep going back into that world. Even a Toy Story maybe, where you can keep reintroducing Toy Story to more and more generations of kids, right? That kind of makes sense. But when you're just shoehorning a sequel into something to be like, hey, remember this thing? We made more.
The big thing that people are saying is that Sinners is an inherently black story.
Yeah.
And it was riddled with metaphors in a brilliant way. It was riddled with metaphors which hold a lot of meaning. So just creating a sequel, because the alleged scene that they're creating a sequel off of is the mid-credit scene where, spoilers, but Haley Steinfeld's character and Michael B. Jordan's character show up at the 80s bar, and they're just like, oh, let's make a sequel off of that. That's not the point. Which, again,
was a cool vibe.
It is a very cool vibe.
When they walked in, it was a cool vibe.
But it's not the point. Sinners was very deeply rooted in kind of the white man stealing the black man's culture and the black man's story. However, we cannot just make a sequel of a scene just because it feels like the story can continue. This is what Ryan Coogler was saying. It's kind of just it was a meal. That is it. let's not try and, as you said, shoehorn more into the story.
The only way I see this working is if someone like Spike Lee came in and just sort of took it in a whole new direction.
100%. Even though I feel like you just add Denzel Washington into the movie for no reason.
Sure, I mean, Denzel can be in this. But someone like Spike Lee can go in and just not do the Michael B. Jordan film, not do the Ryan Coogler film, and just change the complete direction. That might be interesting. What might be interesting though is hopefully if they do make a Sinner sequel, we might actually be able to finally see Michael A. Jordan in something.
Happy Gilmore 2, another sequel. What is this?
I'm going back on it. I think they should have a sequel.
100%.
If anything, to get comedies back in.
Exactly. If any of you saw the trailer of this movie, it is immaculate. This whole perception that the era of comedy has died, I think is coming back with this one. I think this is going to be the renaissance of comedy movies coming back.
Tom Cruise brought back action cinema, and we need to pull out the all-star cast for this one. Adam
100%.
Sandler seems to be pulling the comedy out of the ocean as we speak.
Yeah, basically Happy Gilmore 2 marks the return of Adam Sandler as this golfer, and in the sequel, Happy, the character of Happy, is coming out of retirement to fund his daughter Vienna's ballet school. Very wholesome, very cute. Original cast are coming back. There's Julie Bowen, Christopher McDonald, Ben Stiller, Severin stars now, Ben Stiller, and one thing which I find super unique is joining the cast is global music sensation Bad Bunny. If you told me, okay, just guess a singer who could be the caddy of Adam Sandler, go. Bad Bunny would not be at the top of my list, I must admit to you.
Benny Blanco, even though he's not a singer, I feel like could have been an Adam Sandler caddy.
That would be hilarious.
And, interestingly, his daughter in the film is played by Sonny Sandler, his daughter in real life.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Keep it in the family. Apart from Happy Gilmore 2, another comedy sequel is coming out. We're just drowning in sequels at this point. Meet the Parents 4.
Listen,
4.
Again, if this is what it takes, like we said before, to get people to watch comedy movies and to get comedy movies back in the sort of rotation, they're proven things, right?
Yeah.
Everyone who
it's
enjoyed Meet the Parents...
two sequels, but two huge sequels.
Yeah, anyone who enjoyed Meet the Parents is coming to watch this. Anyone who enjoyed Happy Gilmore is coming to watch this. And this might be the little kick and the kickstart, the flint and steel onto the comedy landscape.
The one thing that Meet the Parents did announce is that Ariana Grande will be joining the cast of this movie. This is absolutely crazy.
They didn't just cast Ariana Grande, she explicitly asked to be in this cast, right? They gave her many options for different movies to be in, and she's like, no, I want to be in Meet the Parents 4.
Yeah, I mean, and it's not just like we're casting singers to be in cameos. No, these are genuinely really good actors. Ariana Grande did an excellent job in Wicked, and I'm super excited for the Wicked sequel. Haha, sequels. Yeah. But they are casting actual, genuine good actors. It's not just they have cameos.
And so, sure, is Bad Bunny a great actor? Who knows?
Who knows?
Is he funny?
Well, after his SNL skits, 100%.
He's hilarious.
100%.
So, is the comedy coming back? Are we finally going to get comedies in movie theaters? The Disney mouse is running around the castle with a massive sword, just going absolutely apeshit on every single person that seems to work at Disney. Disney announced this week that they're doing a fourth and their largest round of staff reductions and layoffs, completely gutting massive departments. Anything that isn't streaming or parks is dead in the water. Yeah.
It's horrible. It's absolutely horrible. And we unfortunately don't have comments from people who have been laid off, but from what I'm seeing, it's ruthless. It's absolutely ruthless. We don't have any comments from previous employees, but Disney CEO Bob Iger has announced to cut approximately 7,000 jobs in order to save about $5.5 billion a year. It is insane.
Now, these aren't all 7,000 at once. It's a slow rollout that started in 2023 and is like slowly progressing. But they seem to be getting rid of absolutely anything that is extra, which is fair. Like companies should be doing that. But what they're calling extra is a lot of places.
Actually extra. The departments that have been affected are film and TV marketing, TV publicity, casting and development, and corporate finance. Which means everything that isn't everything that isn't just like business, out the window. Don't care.
Yeah, this is like a move that all businesses kind of go through. We're in a bit of a downturn right now, especially in the film industry. But this is also coming from the same guy who gave RDJ $1 billion to be in a movie.
This is a very big conspiracy out of these Disney layoffs, is that they're making up for actor compensation, especially with the big Marvel movies coming up, that a lot of funds have been shifted around, and since kind of RDJ is coming in and demanding like 100 mil, they need to find the money. And big theories have been that they're laying off people to pay these actors, which is really horrendous. I find this really dystopian, to be honest with you. Apart from that, the main kind of consensus is that these layoffs have been to the creative sectors of Disney. And how can you create content, film and TV content, without creative sectors?
Yeah, what this feels like is Disney kind of just admitting that they're making too much like stuff, and they're just like, listen, we need to pull back. We need to tighten sort of the belt and tighten the reins and just sort of keep things smaller, which doesn't sound like Disney. But if that's going to help them sort of survive, again, they gave not $1 billion, but $100 million to RDJ and to hundreds of other $1 million to other people and actors. And then $100 million pays for a lot of people.
Yeah, it does.
Like at $100,000 a year, which is a pretty good salary, that's what 1,000 people for every. Like, it's just so much money.
The ironic turn of events which came out of this is Andor, which is a kind of Star Wars spin-off. Andor creator Tony Gilroy came out. He said that they really needed to fight for the money because he was being told that streaming is dead.
Now, granted,
by Disney.
$650 million.
It's a lot of money.
For
but the fact that
Disney
were telling him, we can't give you money because streaming is dead and we're focusing on theatre, and then they go and do this, and they're having these kind of panic reactions from what I can deem is COVID, when streaming was shooting up, and then going back on their words is insane.
Yeah, to be fair, if someone asked me for $650 million, I wouldn't just say streaming is dead, I'd pretend I was dead and I'd move to Mexico.
Well, look, Disney's theatrical releases are flopping-ish. I mean, Snow White was a flop, but Lilo and Stitch is making bank, apparently.
No,
making
kids'
more than
movies
Tom
always
Cruise.
make so much money.
But yeah, Disney, make up your mind much? We can finally listen to Reputation once again because Taylor Swift has finally, and once and for all, bought back all of her records. If you don't know, in 2019, her talent manager, Scooter Braun, acquired Big Machine Records and kind of swept all of Taylor Swift's masters into his hand, but
without
she finally,
sort of asking, like, he didn't have to ask, but it's kind of just like a bit of a sketchy move.
But she finally, after spending $360 million to buy everything back, now owns all of her records.
Yeah, this comes after she re-recorded most of the albums that this guy owned.
And made bank.
No, made tons of money.
Bank.
So in order to sort of buy back and take claim of her music that she wanted to own, she re-recorded absolutely like every song she'd ever done, except Reputation, which fans have been waiting for, and Debut, two of her most famous albums, right? And she's been going around, and she did an Eras tour, right?
The Eras tour was such a great success, record-breaking.
It skyrocketed her into even more fame
1,000%.
because as every artist released maybe an album a year, she dropped all her albums of the greatest hits of all time.
Her tour also inspired other artists' tours, such as Gracie, Sabrina, even Katy Perry in some aspects, which is insane. It's insane to see kind of just like this young billionaire. I'm going to call her a young billionaire because, I mean, she is
entirely self-made,
shifting the music industry in just a year and a half, 2 years. Yeah. I mean, she's been around for 12, 13 years now, but in just 2 years, she's managed to shift the narrative, which is insane.
What's excellent about this is that she's created a path for artists to start to own their work, rather than just having the companies that produce the music own the work.
After she started re-recording her own things, a lot of other artists cut ties with Scooter Braun, such as Idina Menzel, Ariana Grande, even Justin Bieber, I think Demi Lovato.
And Justin Bieber and him were best friends.
100%, which is insane that all of these artists are finally kind of stepping out and becoming independent.
And fighting for artists' equity and their ownership of their own work.
In fact, another famous artist, Chappell Roan, came out and was discussing that once she was signed with Atlantic Records, they prohibited her from releasing tracks that she actually wanted to release and not ballads, because that's what she was popular for about like 5 to 6 years. And then when she met Daniel Nigro, who was Olivia Rodrigo's producer, I think.
I believe so.
He was just like, let's make what you want. And they made Pink Pony Club, and she is now up and at it.
Yeah, I mean, Haley Steinfeld, same thing. Like, she's signed and they just won't let her release any music. And she apparently has albums and albums of work that she wants to release. Can't do it. Not to mention, they don't get as much money for all the streams and all the
100%.
sales and everything that happens. If someone licenses their song for a movie, right, most of the money goes to whoever owns the music. And now she owns the music. She made $1 billion off the tour, spent $360 million of those dollars buying back her own music, which is a very funny full circle moment.
Yeah.
And what's excellent about this is everyone on TikTok who went to the Eras tour is kind of posting, oh, I'm so glad I went to our shareholder meeting where I invested in the Taylor catalog, and I'm so glad that our board director and CEO, Taylor Swift, finally got her music back like she said she would.
To be fair, out of all people, I think us two really gave Taylor...
Yeah,
we were Vienna tour victims, guys. We were up in Vienna when the whole tour got cancelled, and then we impulse bought tickets to Wembley in London. We provided a lot, let's just say, a lot for Taylor to buy back her record. So I'm glad that worked out for her.
This one's a bit of a good news, bad news situation. James Gunn's new Superman, which looks absolutely excellent, and a lot of fans are super excited that they're making a saturated and colorful
the trailer has color, guys. The trailer has color.
Yeah, a James Gunn Superman movie. He did great movies at Marvel. He moved over to DC, made an excellent movie. That's the good news. The bad news is Warner Brothers apparently really did not like the movie. After a test screening, it resulted in mixed reviews.
And it's been sent back into the kitchen.
Yeah, they set that steak back and said, continue cooking this. We want you to get rid of absolutely everything the fans liked about this.
Look, to be fair, James Gunn did say he had a lot of input into these changes. He did come out and say that there were going to be a lot of tone modifications because the original feature kind of like had more comedic elements and James Gunn style, and they just wanted to make it a bit darker. Surprisingly.
Yeah, but this is DC's problem. They always want to make it darker, and it doesn't work. They want to be the dark Marvel.
So funny because this is the inverse in Marvel. Like, for example, Marvel, there was Ant-Man Quantumania, which was originally written to be much darker and much more heartfelt, and then they turned it into a CGI mess.
Yeah,
so it's so funny how these two kind of studios keep swapping, which is insane. Apart from tone modification, there were also editorial changes, and
they swapped an editor halfway through the
editor
movie.
and a composer.
Yeah,
they swapped a whole composer.
Which is the second time this year, by the way, because they swapped Lauren Balfe out of Mission Impossible after doing the last few, which is crazy. You don't usually swap your composers.
Yeah, they had John Murphy attached, who is the composer for Suicide Squad, and apparently he made it to like la 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 la. So they were just like, no, we're gonna have to redo a bunch of this.
Yeah, hopefully it doesn't feel like someone went into the edit last minute. You know, like once you cook a steak, you can't really uncook it. So if this movie was designed to be a light-hearted, fun adventure movie for the whole family, and they change all that and try to like shoehorn it to be a more dramatic movie, I mean, I don't think that's gonna work.
Yeah,
maybe if they manage to just make it deeper and more emotionally complex, that could be interesting.
What I do enjoy is that James Gunn has now recently been appointed as kind of the head of DC. So I'm glad that we're kind of getting like a shift of all of this, and maybe kind of his input will become a bit more clearer now. I'm very.
But it just after this, what we were excited for them to be in control. But if David Zaslav, who's the CEO of Warner Brothers,
the DC killer,
if he just keeps putting his fingers on these projects and not letting these creatives that he pays so much money to do their jobs, I don't know. I just don't think it's gonna work. So Stranger Things, finally, after how many years now? Probably $1 billion.
I think
lost
9.
Count.
9,
after 9 years,
9?
They've announced when the final season is coming out. And the thing is that, and has the internet up in arms, it's not 1 date, it's not 2 dates, it is 3 dates. Volume 1 of about 4 episodes is going to be coming out on November 26th, right for Thanksgiving, right? Volume 2 is coming out December 25th, famously, I don't know, Christmas.
And then the season finale is going to be a New Year's Eve special.
Yeah.
Very confusing. I mean, everyone's super excited because each episode is designed to feel like a standalone blockbuster. These episodes are long, longer than 45 minutes long, which I'm so hyped for, and I'm so glad that Netflix were just like, go ham, go. Not Russo's, Duffer Brothers, go. Just do whatever you want. I'm so glad that they let them with that to go ahead. However, this episode release format is whack. absolutely whack. What do you mean? 4 episodes of November, another 4 episodes on Christmas Day, and then the series finale on New Year's Eve. What does that even mean?
So we actually have a whole
we
have a whole separate video coming out soon of breaking this down and why this is so interesting for the entire industry. So look forward to that. But the sort of short version is there are 2 problems with this. The first one is they're releasing these episodes on holidays, right? And people famously spend time with their families on their holidays. They're traveling on the holidays. I mean, you have Thanksgiving, Christmas Day, and New Year's Eve. These are the 3 days where people watch the least amount of television. I get that maybe they get to own that slot, right? They get to own the holidays 100%. And people might be...
No, they are going to own winter and go through to January. 100%.
Who's like, you're going to have family over and be like, sorry, Grandma, let's go watch like...
Stranger Things,
the end of the world.
The one curious thing is, why aren't they releasing weekly? What is this new format where it's like 4, 3, and 1?
Yeah, Netflix absolutely refuse to release anything weekly because they're like, no, we don't do that anymore. That's not we need to drop it. But they split 8 episodes into 3 chunks. Here's an idea.
It's so odd.
Split them into 8 chunks because, 8 is more than 3. Release them every week on the same day every week so people know when they're coming out.
And this is coming after, Disney's out here being like, streaming's alive, but it's also dead. And then there's Netflix doing some sort of new format. Like, what is going on, guys?
No, this felt like they needed to drop it weekly.
I really hope this doesn't kill the narrative spark, because Stranger Things is so known for its quirkiness, its sci-fi, Spielberg-inspired narrative between Hawkins and the Upside Down, and I just hope that doesn't kill the spark.
I mean, if I were the Duffer Brothers, I'd build it in, right? So after you watch the first 4 episodes, give them a cliffhanger. Then give them another 3 episodes, massive cliffhanger, and sort of just keep sort of growing and growing the anticipation. But the main problem here is it's split into 3. It should have been weekly. I mean, come on, Netflix, HBO, Apple TV are nailing it. You saw the hype around Severance. You saw the hype around The Last of Us. You saw the hype around all those shows. And second of all, who's watching these on
Christmas
these days?
Day. Does this have to do with their annual report, their annual viewers report? Maybe.
Yeah, possibly they're trying to amp up their numbers and just grow that November, December, January.
To make them look like they've done an excellent job.
Yeah, trying to pump the subscriber numbers up. Everyone knows that Stranger Things is their biggest property and it's been for quite a while. And it's the last time they get to make money off of it. But it's just so weird. It's so weird. And I think just Netflix, they just need to admit that weekly is better for some shows, especially ones where you have an hour and a half of content every week. We'll see what happens.
And finally, Mikey Madison and Sydney Sweeney are doing a switcheroo on an A24 movie.
Yeah.
Whoa. Basically, A24 producing Mask of the Red Death, which is inspired by an Edgar Allan Poe novel. Yeah, Sydney Sweeney was basically meant to star in this movie, but had to exit the project due to scheduling conflicts with Euphoria Season 3, this show which I think is not going to come out at this point.
Another 10-year show.
Yeah, but in other news, Mikey Madison is going to be portraying twin sisters, kind of one of an aristocratic background and the other of a common background, which is so intriguing. Yeah, I'm so glad that Mikey Madison has been spreading herself across, because a lot of young Oscar winners kind of take the Oscar win, sit with it, say thanks, and then die and disappear.
Yeah.
But Mikey Madison, I'm so excited for her to reappear in cinemas. I'm so excited to see her in another project. She recently hosted a really, really great episode of SNL, and she's set to star in a movie called Reptilia with Kirsten Dunst. Meanwhile, on the other side of things, Sydney Sweeney has been in the spotlight for a very controversial marketing campaign. If you don't know, she's a brand ambassador for Dr. Squatch, which is a male grooming hygiene company. Situation. And she just released a limited edition soap called Sydney's Bathwater Bliss.
The Sydney Sweeney Bathwater Twitter Bonanza.
What?
Yeah.
I'm so perplexed by this.
This obviously lit the entire internet on fire for the reasons that you are thinking of in your head. With a bunch of people on Twitter trying to petition Mr. Beast to buy them.
This is hilarious.
The Sydney Sweeney Bathwater, which is a sentence that would absolutely destroy a Victorian village.
Yeah.
Not just a child, a village, right?
She's still doing film stuff. I don't know if any of you saw her recent trailer of Echo Valley, co-starring Julianne Moore. She did an excellent job, and she is an excellent actress. But these moves on her end they make you question: does she actually know what she's doing? Like,
yeah, part of me just like, listen, girl, get that bag. Like, it's a funny joke. Like, I get that it's a funny idea, right? Like,
100%.
It's so Internet of Things as a joke.
The other half, though, is kind of like, this is the thing women fought against in the 50s.
Yeah.
How have we regressed so far back to this? So it's left a lot of people questioning, and also a lot of people losing support of Sydney Sweeney and all her business models and morals. I personally think it's a bit of a weird move on her end.
Yeah, it's a weird move.
It's a very odd move. This started as a Super Bowl commercial and now has kind of like butterfly effect.
It's not going to be the end of Sydney Sweeney in the slightest. It is an interesting beginning, though, of a conversation about the way that she is sort of taking control of the objectification that's been thrust upon her.
It's this whole debate of like women in Hollywood and how people are so quick to perceive women in Hollywood for just tiny single moves they do. Everything is criticized. And I mean, if you're a massive star in Hollywood, unfortunately you are, that's something you're going to go through. But there are some things which are kind of like micro criticisms that I feel like we just need to be a bit easier on. This one, however, I don't think this one's a micro criticism at all. This is just the genuine WTF. What's going on?
I do, because like if Bad Bunny released Bad Bunny bathwater, we'd be like, oh, that's funny. If Adam Sandler released Adam Sandler bathwater, we'd be like, oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
But Sydney Sweeney, who is sort of heavily sexualized in all media and has publicly come out to say, listen, I'm fine with it mostly, and I'm going to lean into that because that's just me, right? If she wants to do it, and if she has a brand who thinks it's funny, who's willing to give her money to allegedly put some of her bathwater in a soap as a joke to go viral on the internet and have people talk about the brand.
It's kind of like a you do you, but at the same time, if you're doing you, people are going to question that.
So she knows what she's doing. She knew that people were going to be annoyed by it. I'm not offended by it. I mean, it's a stupid thing to be offended by. But I do think it does spark a bit of a question of, does this push like the agenda forward, right? Of just unobjectifying women in Hollywood. Again, she got the bag. She made her money, which again, that's great. And I just think it's something funny. Like, I mean, if it was something she just kept doing over and over again, it wasn't just a quick stunt, then it's maybe something to look at. I don't know. It doesn't super bother me. I think it's a funny Twitter move.
Well, if you guys enjoyed this episode, please make sure to like, subscribe, and comment. And maybe, just maybe, if you're lucky, we'll buy you a Sydney. I'm not gonna promise anyone that I'm buying them anything. Just come back next week. Love you and see you next week.